I'm Fabian Šefer. I'm Advanced Analytics Director at Magnit, and today I have the honor to present you two of our rather advanced analytics use cases. But before I do this, I want to give you a brief overview of what we aim to do in advanced analytics at Magnit. Obviously, in order to do all the advanced analytics use cases, big data applications and so on, we need to first build a very good centralized data platform. And this is one of our big focus areas right now because as Magnit grew, building this central data function in the past was done bits by bits, and hence we need to centralize a lot of data marts and make sure that the data reflected in each of the systems is the same, and also then streamline the process on how we get data out of those systems. A second big focus area is translate the data that we then have in a central place into better analysis and insight generations. This is where we work very closely with the business and help them define key reports, but not just give them access to the data, but also try to solve certain problems for them. So for example, when in the past you did look at certain KPIs or you did ask for a report in order to answer a question, we want to transition the department a little bit and really provide insight. So rather than the business telling us what data they want to see in the report, we transform this and we ask them what question do you want to answer, and then we together with the business develop the best way to answer this question. On top of this, we have some very specific advanced analytics use cases that we do for the business that have huge value potential. To name a few, we're working on an on-shelf availability solution where we detect sales patterns in the store to figure out when an item might not be in the store in the right quantity or may not be available for the customer at all. We're working on an improved promo forecasting and a promo optimization solution where we give the commercial function and as well as the supply chain functions the opportunity to massively improve the profitability of the company by better understanding how promotions worked in the past and what they can expect for the future. Just to name a few, and those are the three big use cases that we started with, but obviously there are many more that we will focus on. And then rather new topic for us is our DMP, the data management platform, where we will give access to our customer data to a lot of external partners and try to monetize the data as good as possible without actually sharing the customer data. So to make sure that we protect the customer data as good as possible and validate the trust that the customer has in Magnit. This is a use case that I will go into a bit more detail later on. And while we clearly have defined what we want to do as a function, the company is ready to embark on that journey. However, we obviously need to do it step by step, and right now are just at the beginning of this continuous process. As this conference is a lot about data synergy, I want to show you a very concrete use case that the teams at Magnit started to build way before I joined, but I'm proud to present it to you. It's our GIS tool. The GIS tool is built because of a business requirement that basically asks the data scientist at the company, how can we best estimate the revenue potential that each new shop could bring, but not just understand the revenue potential of this shop, but also how it, for example, affects other stores that are close by. If you think about it, if I put a Magnit store within 1 kilometer to another Magnit store, it can have quite a big cannibalization on this store if there is not a lot of retail opportunity in between. But if, for example, a competitor has a store right in the middle between those two stores, then the cannibalization will be much lower. Based on the tool, we were then also supposed to not just quantify the effect, the potential sales that each store would bring to Magnit, but also look at a map and tell the colleagues where we see the greatest potential for a new store. So how did my colleagues solve this? They built a machine learning algorithm using random forest as well as gradient boosting, to identify the store within our network that is most similar to the store that we are planning to open. And not only did they do this to identify the revenue potential, but they also identified the influence zone of each store, which allows us to understand how far the reach of each store is, taking into account competition and other factors. And based on this, identify blank spot on the map where we're not yet serving our customers and hence have a revenue potential to open a new store without cannibalization of our own revenue. But as I said before, this conference is about data synergy, and that's why I want to show you some examples where external data is extremely useful to make the tool that we have built more powerful. While we do know a lot about the location and how similar locations perform, there are certain patterns that we need to identify to really improve the accuracy of our models. The first area or the first category is to spot the difference in patterns that the tool itself cannot detect because it has no access to this kind of data. To give you an example, the quality of traffic can be very different. If you think about a house that's in the middle of two subway stops, it's not necessarily that people equally will use the different subway exits. And hence, using data, for example, from telecom providers will allow us to get a better understanding on what people favor and hence place the store more optimal. The second pattern is the number of people, not just that live in an area, but also how long do they actually, how much time do they spend in this area. So in different locations, you have a different share of people that on the weekend rather move to the dacha and hence reduce the sales potential of each store. And those are very valuable information. Secondly, we need to enrich the data on the customer. Banks or other providers can give us very good information on the socio-demographics. We can get insight on the current purchasing patterns of the people living in an area, and we can get traffic estimates beyond people actually living in this area. So if you think about it, if you open a store close to a park, you expect some traffic to be there on the weekend. That's not necessarily coming from the people that live in an area, but just other people that frequent this area. And that is all used to really identify the ideal retail location. And then there is a rather big section of insights that we need to use once we have opened the store to complete the picture on the store performance. And that I grouped in identify our target customers. So there are obviously some very relevant people living in close proximity to our store that we do not yet serve. External partners can help us to identify those customers and target them very specifically to make sure that they become a Magnit customer as well. We also can understand if there are certain product categories that we do not offer, but that are very popular in an area. And last but not least, as we're now also embarking on the journey to scale our e-commerce network, external partners can help us identify which areas already have the highest affluence and hence will be most profitable for us. A second use case of data synergy that I want to cover is something where we do not pay for additional insights, but rather we try to monetize the data of our customers. Magnit has 30 million loyal customers that use the card when making a purchase, giving us a lot of information about their purchasing habits, from which you can derive a lot of information around their social demographics, their preferences, and so on, that obviously our partners are willing to pay money for to access. Also, the data that we collect allows us to build much better customer segmentation as a base for personalized offerings. Now we built the DMP, our data management platform. This DMP allows our partners to access our insights and interact with our customers without us actually giving data to the third party. So how you need to imagine this is we build a platform where every of our partner can log in and say, I want to target a certain customer group that I define. So for example, if I want to make an advertisement for a product, I can select exactly those people that have bought this type of product in the past, or I can even select the kind of people that have bought this type of product, but not from my company in the past, and try to increase market share. At the same time, we connect this platform to the advertising inventory of a lot of partners, so that either through an agency or directly through the platform, we help you spend your marketing money more efficiently and hence participate in this value that we generate. Given that now we as a company obviously monetize our data, you may ask, why is the partner interested in paying someone like Magnit for the insight that we provide? On the right side, you see a little bit of an example. In the past, you were trying to advertise. You had different options. First, you basically showed this to the entire market, which is the gray circle. This may work well for certain product categories, but usually that produces suboptimal performance. Then, if you look at the blue circle, you see that you could, in the past, try to identify the subsegment as good as possible, and either your own data or data from Google, Facebook, Yandex, Mail.ru helped you to narrow down the relevant market segment much better. But now what we offer is we don't just tell you it's the relevant segment, but we tell you we know this person is the relevant segment and this person buys at Magnit. And that gives you the opportunity to target this person very specifically, not just tell him what to buy, but also where he can buy it, when it is on offer, as you now can connect all those data points. As a result, our partners are able to target their customers with much better personalized content. They're able, for the first time, to track the online to offline conversion, something that in the past was almost impossible to measure, while you try to have an understanding on how efficient your online marketing works. You had very little insights on how this actually led to conversion. And besides the ability to track this now from online to offline conversion, if you predefine your segments right, that you measure on our platform, you can also use this to then measure the effect of offline or TV advertisement, which for many FMCG companies is the much bigger bucket of budget that they spend at the moment. So defining the target audience that you want to address with one of those offline or TV campaigns, and then measuring how they develop during or after the campaign is something that will provide insights not only to make the online marketing more efficient, but also to get a better understanding of the efficiency of offline marketing money spent. And as a result, the return of invest on the marketing activities of our partners increases quite significantly. And that is why using such a platform really is a win-win situation for us and our partner, so that they are typically happy to spend the money. There's a very nice secondary effect for us, as obviously if a FMCG company targets our customers very personalized with their marketing money, it's unlikely that this person then goes to our main competitor and buys the product there, but the uplift in purchasing ideally translates into an uplift in revenue for Magnit. If you have additional questions to me, or you are interested in participating in the journey and developing of the tools that I've mentioned before, you're very welcome to participate in the networking session later on today. Or you can try to find me on LinkedIn or any other source, reach out to me, try to look on the Magnit site. There are always great opportunities in our area, and I'm very happy to discuss all of this with you in person later today.